Harpers Ferry, West Virginia.
Beautiful area.
Oh, it's gorgeous. You know, those rivers and the mountains and the historical buildings. It's really something.
It is. And it's got a history.
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot of stories have come out of Harpers Ferry, and some of them are...
A little spooky.
Yeah, a little more than a little. I mean, think about it. West Virginia, it's practically famous for its creepy legends. I mean, Mothman the Flatwoods Monster.
They're practically on the state flag.
Right. But today, we're going deep on something a little different. A local legend that you might not have heard of, but it's pretty chilling. The story of Screaming Jenny.
See, this is what I love about these local legends. They're like little windows into the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they tell you about the people, the hardships, the things that really mattered to a community.
Totally. And Harpers Ferry definitely had its share of hardship, but it's such a beautiful place. It's hard to imagine.
Right. I mean, picture at Harpers Ferry, right where the Shenandoah and the Potomac rivers meet. Yeah. It's stunning.
It is, but just a stone's throw from that picturesque train depot, the one right on the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad tracks, there used to be these ramshackle storage sheds. They were falling apart.
And shift housing.
Exactly. And that's where some of the poorest folks in the area ended up, especially when those brutal Appalachian winters hit. I mean, can you imagine?
It makes you think about what people had to endure back then.
Yeah.
You know, just scraping by, to have to seek shelter in those crumbling sheds.
It's humbling. And in one of those sheds lived a woman named Jenny. Now, from what I've gathered, despite living in poverty and facing hunger and cold all the time, she was known for her kindness, her cheerful spirit.
It's almost hard to believe.
Right.
To be surrounded by so much hardship and still maintain that positivity.
I know, and it's not like she had much, but people said she would always share whatever she had, you know, offer a helping hand. Truly remarkable.
A real testament to the human spirit.
Absolutely. So let's try and paint a picture here. It's a frigid evening, late in the year. Jenny is huddled next to a tiny fire, probably her only source of warmth. And maybe she's trying to heat up a little broth for dinner. Imagine that watery broth as your only meal.
Heartbreaking.
I know. And then in a way that feels almost too ordinary, a spark jumps from the fire.
You know, it's often those little things, those seemingly insignificant moments that can lead to the biggest tragedies.
So true. And that spark, it lands on her thick woolen skirt. And at first, she probably doesn't even notice. I mean, not until the flames start to catch and spread.
And wool. It goes up like tinder.
Exactly. And by then, it's too late. She's engulfed. Panic sets in. She runs out of the shed screaming for help, running down the railroad tracks towards the Harpers Ferry station.
That image is just seared into my mind, that desperate run, the flames, the sheer terror.
It's terrifying. And the accounts say her screams, they became almost inhuman. Just raw agony, and in her confusion and pain, she stumbles onto the tracks, and at that exact moment, a train comes around the bend. The engineer sees her, throws on the brakes, but there's just no stopping in time.
It's like a nightmare scenario unfolding.
It is. And then one final piercing scream, and then silence. When the train finally screeches to a halt, the engineer and the station crew, they rush back to where the impact happened, and they find her body, still burning. It's a horrific scene.
I can't even imagine witnessing that.
It's awful.
Yeah.
She was given a pauper's burial, an unmarked grave, and the stories suggest that she might have been completely forgotten, just another victim of circumstance. But something happened a few weeks later, something that changed everything.
This is where the story takes that turn into the truly unexplained, right?
Right. About a month after the accident, another train is coming around that same bend where Jenny died. And the engineer, he sees a figure engulfed in flames standing right on the track.
In the exact same spot.
The exact same spot. He slams on the brakes, but just like before, it's not enough. The train hits the figure.
Oh my God.
When they search the tracks, there's nothing there. No body, no sign of anything except for the cold steel rails.
It's like she vanished into thin air.
And that's when people started to whisper that Jenny's ghost had come back to haunt the place where she died.
Sends shivers down my spine just thinking about it.
And the thing is, it wasn't just a one-time thing. Over the years, there have been multiple sightings of this fiery apparition, always on the tracks, always running towards the station.
So this wasn't just some isolated incident or a misremembered story. This was something that people saw again and again.
Exactly. And the details of the sightings are always the same. The unquenchable flames, the desperate run towards the station, and the screams. Even though the figure itself doesn't make a sound, people hear the screams, but they're coming from somewhere else.
It's like a phantom echo, a lingering trace of that original trauma.
It really makes you think. So for our listeners who are all about those concise but thorough deep dives, who love to learn new things and get those captivating details, well, there you have it. The haunting legend of Screaming Jenny, a piece of Harpers Ferry folklore that's both tragic and terrifying.
And you know what I find interesting? These stories, these legends, they often serve a purpose for a community to process grief, to remember those who might have been forgotten, and even to warn future generations about the dangers of a particular place or time.
That's a great point. You know, that image of screaming Jenny engulfed in flames running from an unstoppable train. It's almost symbolic. It's like a representation of the overwhelming forces that people, especially the most vulnerable people, faced back then.
Exactly. So it makes you wonder, why do these stories stick with us? Why do some tragedies become so deeply ingrained in our collective memory? What is it about these events that captures our imagination and refuses to let go?
That's the question, isn't it? Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there's something undeniably powerful about these legends. They make us think about our past, about the people who came before us, and about the mysteries that still linger in the shadows.
The things we can't explain.
Exactly. And that's what makes exploring these stories so fascinating.
It really is.
So until next time, keep those lanterns lit, and maybe listen for the echoes of the past. You never know what you might hear.
And be careful out there.
You got it.